The second seal breaks. The earth doesn't shake, but hearts do. A red horse bursts forth. Its rider carries a great sword, not to slay enemies, but to remove peace. That's his gift, not war itself, but the seed, the argument, the suspicion, the division. He doesn't need armies, he just needs a spark. And in a divided world, fire spreads faster than truth. He whispers in boardrooms, pulpits, governments, and homes. He doesn't need to raise his voice. He lets fear do that. He points fingers quietly until entire nations roar. People don't realize when they've been infected by him. Rage feels righteous. Revenge feels just. Division feels natural. And that's the point. War becomes internal before it becomes global. The Red Rider doesn't create conflict. He reveals it. He takes away the illusion of peace and lets humanity show its true face. Families fracture, tribes turn on each other, races, religions, ideologies clash. But not with swords, not yet. First with words, then with laws, then with silence, then with fire. And all along, he smiles. His sword is not for battle, it's for balance. To tilt the world into chaos, one headline at a time, one outrage, one betrayal, until society forgets unity and embraces sides. He doesn't want to win, he wants everyone to lose. And the more we argue, the more he rides. The more we divide, the stronger he becomes. War isn't declared with drums anymore, it's declared online. In comment sections, in tweets, in ideologies weaponized through algorithms. The Red Rider moves through screens faster than through cities. And by the time real blood is shed, the war has already won in the mind. That's where he lives, not on the battlefield, but in the heart of division. In every protest turned violent, in every debate turned hatred, he rides. He doesn't need to raise armies. He turns friends into enemies, neighbors into threats. He sows fear wrapped in justice, anger dressed as identity. And slowly, the idea of us vanishes. It's all them now. And when there's no more us, peace becomes impossible. He rides behind ideologies, both sides, left and right, freedom and security, faith and fear. He doesn't choose a team, he inflames them all, because conflict feeds him. The louder the world gets, the stronger he becomes. And as the shouting drowns out truth, his sword stays sharp, not with blood, but with silence between broken relationships. Peace doesn't disappear in one moment. It erodes, slowly, a headline, a scandal, a law, a misunderstanding, and the red horse gallops quietly in the background, not announcing war, but waiting for it, feeding it. And when it comes, people don't realize how they got here, because the division was planted long before the first shot was fired. He walks into churches, classrooms, families. He changes the way people see each other. They don't understand you. They're against you. They hate your truth. He whispers these lies until they become beliefs, until tribes are formed, until love becomes suspicion. And then he steps back. The war continues on its own. His presence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a slow tension in a room, a long pause after a sentence, a look, a scroll, a silence that wasn't there before. He doesn't need explosions, he needs disconnection, because once people stop understanding each other, the red horse doesn't need to gallop. He can just walk, quietly, deeply, permanently. And when blood finally spills, people don't even recognize the source. They blame a side, a nation, a name. But the real enemy already moved on. The Red Rider doesn't stay where the fire burns. He moves ahead, lighting the next match. His war is never about victory. It's about cycles. He doesn't want peace broken. He wants peace forgotten. The world thinks war starts with tanks, but it starts with tones, headlines, us versus them. When people begin to dehumanize each other, war becomes inevitable. The Red Rider simply rides the momentum. He doesn't lead the charge. He waits for us to start it. And when we do, he hands us the sword we begged for, smiling. He thrives in culture wars, online rage, silent hatred, and each time we choose sides over truth, he grows. Each time we cancel instead of listen, he sharpens his blade. His sword doesn't cut flesh, it cuts bridges, and soon there's no one left to talk to, only to fight. That's when war becomes not a possibility, but a prophecy fulfilled. But the Red Rider fears one thing: unity rooted in truth. Not shallow agreement, but deep understanding, forgiveness, reconciliation. He can't ride in places where people choose grace over revenge, where listening replaces shouting, where bridges are rebuilt. Because when unity returns, his horse stops, his sword rusts, his ride ends. So where are we now? Look around. Listen. Do you hear peace or tension? Understanding or shouting? Reconciliation or revenge? The red horse doesn't need war to ride. He just needs hearts ready to hate. And once they are, the battlefield is everywhere. Not just between armies, but between souls. He's not done. The Red Rider escalates slowly. What begins as arguments becomes policy. What starts as debates becomes division. The sword swings quietly at first, cutting truth from memory, cutting people from empathy. And before we realize, we're not talking to opponents anymore. We're training to fight enemies, even if we've never met them. He fuels the idea that violence is necessary, that division is destiny, that some groups must fall for others to rise. He whispers, there's no middle ground, and people believe him. Nations sharpen borders, families sharpen tongues, and the red horse rides faster, not on roads, but through hearts conditioned to see every disagreement as a threat. Block 017 PT. But the battle isn't lost yet. The Red Rider is powerful, but not unstoppable. Every moment we choose to listen instead of react weakens him. Every time we forgive, he stumbles. He thrives on noise, so silence becomes our resistance. He thrives on fear, so love becomes our rebellion. And unity, that's the sword he cannot hold. He fears awakening, a people who see beyond propaganda, who recognize the trap before they step in. His greatest weapon is reaction. His greatest enemy is reflection. When people begin to ask deeper questions, seek real truth, look each other in the eye again, the Red Rider slows. Because thought is resistance, and discernment is war against his war. The red horse isn't just prophecy, it's present. Not just a warning, but a mirror. It reflects where we are, how easily we divide, how quickly we burn what we once built. But if war begins in the heart, so does peace. The question isn't, is he riding? It's, are we fueling him or stopping him? The answer isn't out there, it's inside. The rider doesn't scream. He plants seeds of resentment, of fear, of pride. And these seeds grow not in battlefields, but in homes, churches, conversations. His work is subtle, strategic. By the time the first shot is fired, he's already done. Because the loudest wars always begin in the quietest rooms. And those rooms, they're everywhere. He wants us too distracted to notice, too reactive to reflect. He wants every headline to ignite us, every post to divide us. Because the more we fight, the more invisible he becomes. That's the strategy. Turn people into pawns. Make enemies where there were neighbors. And once peace seems naive, his mission is nearly complete. But not all is lost. Even now, resistance is rising. Quiet voices choosing peace, bold hearts choosing truth. And in those moments, the red horse hesitates. Because light doesn't need to scream to shatter darkness. A whisper of truth, a single act of grace, a bridge rebuilt can stop his charge. It begins with us, one choice at a time. Remember this, the red horse only rides where division is welcome. He doesn't force entry, he's invited through bitterness, through pride, through silence when truth is needed. But we can choose another way, one that doesn't ignore conflict but heals it. Not by swords, but by understanding. And that is a battle he cannot win. So the question remains, Is he riding now? Look around. Listen deeper. Feel the tension. The red horse may not look like prophecy to the world, but to those who watch with spiritual eyes, he's already galloping. The seal is broken, the division has begun, but the war in you, the choice to love, to unite, to stand in truth, that's where the final victory starts.